There is a strong association between the right-wing political groups of the world and religion. Primarily in Europe, the Americas, and sub-Saharan Africa, the majority of individuals are Christian, and oftentimes the ruling classes as well. I myself am a Christian, and hold my beliefs to be very important in my life, but it is because of this that I am not right-wing. However, Christianity has often been linked with the establishment for centuries. Despite facing some intense persecution in its infancy, an individual sects through history to today still experiencing violence, the rise of the Catholic and Orthodox churches intertwined with the rise of powerful empires, like the Holy Roman, British, Byzantine, Spanish, and Russian empires, which is not to dismiss the evils committed by Anglicans and Protestants in power either, which despite being more recent denominations, also have greatly destructive legacies. Individuals and institutions calling themselves Christians were invading countries, committing atrocities, and hoarding wealth. Now, modern views of morality generally shy away from the conquest angle of civilization, but many Christians of several denominations still see value in hoarding wealth. Of course, they won't call it hoarding, but something like capital accumulation. In the worldview of capitalism, the seeking of money is good and natural, and many Christians, in love with the power the establishment grants them, see capitalism as a good on par with democracy, which is peculiar, as Christianity has more in common with socialism than capitalism. Now, I suppose I should give some solid definitions of socialism and capitalism before I go into why I believe Christianity is more like the former. Now,
Ahem!
Wait, what?
Excuse me there, sir.
What in the world?
Were you about to explain socialism?
What? Yeah, look,
Perhaps I could be of assistance. My name is Thomas S. Commoner. I am a socialist.
Look, I appreciate it, but this is a serious channel. These videos are basically papers read aloud with images and captions. I don't really do characters.
Well, how do you know if the channel can't have characters if you never give it a go?
Alright, look, fine. You can give it a try. But if my audience doesn't like it, you're out of here, okay?
Yes, that's all well and good. Hello, everyone! Today I'm going to define for you socialism and capitalism. Socialism, the ultimate expression of human decency, is the communal possession of the means of production. Socialism is defined differently by each person that espouses it. However, whether in theory or in political practice, it generally concerns itself with the plight of the common folk, and not with the bourgeoisie. Capitalism, however, is the idea that means of production should be privately owned, and there is a lack of any requirement for social security. Capitalists are heartless individuals driven by greed.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. Thank you. I've got it from here. So, yes, basically socialism concerns itself with society, and capitalism is about individual wealth. Now, why do I believe Christianity is more like socialism than capitalism? Well, let me explain. Now, obviously Christianity predates what is defined as the birth of both capitalism and socialism. However, during the life of Jesus of Nazareth, who I will be treating as a historical figure as he is described by Josephus Tacitus and Mara bar Serapion, and as I believe he is described in the New Testament, Judea functioned with both taxes and markets. Saying it's the same as today's economy in the US, Mexico, and other countries would be a lie and oversimplifying things, but there were definitely similarities. Many of Jesus' contemporaries were enterprising businessmen. One of his apostles, which is like a closest follower, Matthew, was formerly a tax collector. Peter, regarded in Catholic tradition as the first pope, was a fisherman, and fishermen make money by selling the fish that they catch. So why would I think Christianity is advocating more of a socialist form of culture? Well, simply put, because of what Jesus himself said. Luke 3:11, and he answered them, "Whoever has 2 tunics is to share with him who has none, and whoever has food is to do likewise." Luke 14:13-14, but when you give a feast, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed, because they cannot repay you, for you will be repaid at the resurrection of the just. Matthew 6:2, thus when you give to the needy, sound no trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may be praised by others. Truly I say to you, they have received their reward. Matthew 6:24, no one can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. Matthew 19:21-24, Jesus said to him, if you would be perfect, go, sell what you possess and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. And come, follow me. When the young man heard this, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. And Jesus said to the disciples, Truly I say to you, only with difficulty will a rich person enter the kingdom of heaven. Again I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God. Like I said, capitalism hadn't been invented in ancient Judea, but the concepts of personal accumulation of wealth and indulgence in possession are greatly disagreed with by Jesus of Nazareth. If, like me, you believe the Gospels contain the true accounts of the life of Jesus, you might know Jesus provided free health care to dozens of confirmed peoples and an untold number of individuals, included in referenced mass healings. Furthermore, he provided free meals to thousands of people and advocated, as shown in the verses, for his followers to support the poor and needy. Now, obviously, if the followers of Jesus did not hold to these standards, the first Christians would have set forth a contradictory viewpoint. And indeed, Christianity in later centuries indulged in accumulation of wealth, as well as private ownership in even the most horrible way, which is slavery. But early Christians were still in alignment with Jesus' views on wealth. In the first church in Jerusalem, as described in Acts 2:44-45, and all who believed were together and had all things in common, and they were selling their possessions and belongings and distributing the proceeds to all, as any had need. And then, you know Paul of Tarsus, who wrote almost half of the books of the New Testament. He also expressed similar views to the churches he planted and the disciples he made. 2 Corinthians 8:13-15, For I do not mean that others should be eased and you burdened, but that as a matter of fairness your abundance at the present time should supply their need, so that their abundance may supply your need, that there may be fairness, as it is written, Whoever gathered much had nothing left over, and whoever gathered little had no lack. Galatians 6:2, Bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. 1 Corinthians 10:24, Let no one seek his own good, but the good of his neighbor. John, the son of Zebedee, had this to say, in 1 John 3:17, But if anyone has the world's goods, and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart against him, how does God's love abide in him? Finally, James, the son of Mary and Joseph, had this absolute condemnation of greedy business practices and wealth hoarding. Brace yourselves. James 5:1-6. Come now, you rich, weep and howl for the miseries that are coming upon you. Your riches have rotted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver have corroded, and their corrosion will be evidenced against you, and will eat your flesh like fire. You have laid up treasure in the last days. Behold, the wages of the laborers who mowed your fields, which you kept back by fraud, are crying out against you, and the cries of the harvesters have reached the ears of the Lord of hosts. You have lived on the earth in luxury and in self-indulgence. You have fattened your hearts in a day of slaughter. You have condemned and murdered the righteous person. He does not resist you. Powerful stuff. Though Christianity has become associated with rich pastors and conning the poor, its roots entail a much more egalitarian perspective. Now, I'm not saying capitalists can't be Christian, or that there's never been a rich person that has done good, but the attitudes common of capitalism are strongly denounced by the New Testament, and they should be denounced by the Church. Postscript, there are several passages in the Old Testament that also condemn greed and support social sharing. But as this video is about Christianity, the religion that many of the rich and powerful in the Western Hemisphere claim to subscribe to, I wish to focus on the New Testament. Also, I recognize Marx saw religion as the opiate of the masses. The only thing all socialists have in common is that they have nothing else in common. Many Christians have lived more socialist lifestyles, including the Quakers, the Catholic Workers' Movement, Franciscans, and many more.